Good afternoon and a warm welcome to the final week live interaction. Hi, this is Jayakrishnan, and we have a different, what do you say, we have done one more orchestration decision this week. We have a learner from the course directly joining us in the studios at in Chennai for this particular interaction. So this is Professor Sudarshan. Professor Sudarshan, can you just introduce yourself to
Sure.
the learners?
Hi everyone, I am Sudarshan. I'm from Chennai. I am one of the learners of the course. Thank you, Professor Jayakrishnan, for having me here. And I am personally motivated by Sir to join this course. And I'm having a lot of information, and I'm having a lot of interaction with the in the discussion forum with the learners. And I have created my own LED which I posted in the discussion forum. And I would be very happy to share my own experience with you also through the interaction today. And I would also like to answer some of your queries, if any, with me. What little I know, I will share with you.
Yeah, so before further interactions can happen, I'll just have a brief overview of what you have done till now. In the first week, we started with the overview of LCM model. We provided you the conceptual idea of why LCM. Okay, so a quick question to all of you. I see from Simran's response that you are not able to listen to my voice. Is the audio, is it audible now for everyone? Is my audio clear to everyone? If you are able to hear my audio, can you just respond back in either in chat or in the Padlet? Okay, so okay, I see that some of you are able to listen to my voice, so I'll just continue. Yeah, it might be a net delay, so there might be a slight delay in listening to our voice. So let me once again start from where I left off. So the first week we provided you with an overview about what LCM is, why LCM is required, and we just briefly introduce you to the different elements, LEDs, LVDs, LXTs and LXIs. And if you actually look at it, everything was done in an LCM way. So we started off with LXTs, which talked about the history of MOOCs, which also talked about the current reports, statistics. So this is, we are considering all those learners who are interested in understanding what this MOOC is all about. Then there is a separate set of learners who want to understand about data, how much learners complete, how many learners actually go through. So we had statistics from MOOC through the class central reports. And then we also had other short LEDs about LCM. So we started with LXTs, followed it up with LEDs. We had the LXI, and that is how the entire first week was curated. And if you actually look at it, many people, even in discussion forum, they were complaining that the first week was, I mean, too many terms, too many jargons, too many different things. I think I should admit from the course team's end that it was actually intentional, 95% intentional, because there was no other way in which we could have slowly guided you to the learner-centric way, because majority of places, though we all say learner centricity, it is actually missing even in our regular face-to-face classroom. It happens due to wide variety of reasons. So when you are encountered with such a different philosophy, it is also important that the experience also comes in that particular manner. So that was why this entire course is curated in a different way. And once you get used to that, you will understand that yes, every time you see a video, you will see that yes, this LED will have a reflection spot. It will allow me to think. Then it is immediately followed by an LBD, which allows me to practice whatever I learned. And also I'll get feedback whether I am right or wrong. Then I have my LXIs to actually discuss whatever I learned and my experience along with my peer learners who are distributed everywhere. And this is then followed by the LXTs. Now LXTs, this is where the branching or adaptation per se comes in. In a massive open online course, adaptations, personalized adaptations is difficult. Hence, we look at cohorts of learners. So, for example, we had an entry survey through which we understood how many of you were actually faculty, how many of you are coming from industry, how many of you are actually students. So, with this in mind, we had specific LXTs for all of you. So some of our learners would want to create their own activity. So we had tools and other things for them in the first week. In the second week, we also had different assessment tools, the Bloom's taxonomy, digital Bloom's taxonomy, etc. coming up in the second week. And that was how it was, what do you say, it was curated, basically looking at the cohorts of learners. So some people wanted to immediately apply, some people wanted to learn about it a little more. So we had research papers, etc. coming in. So we had few of our learners who are interested in or are doing research in MOOCs. So we had research papers and other things given along with the course, so that these learners will also be benefited. And yes, of course, there is also the academic side, wherein this is in a massive open online course format. We have to what do you say, we have to adhere to the larger guidelines provided by the MOOC provider, NPTEL, that there should be weekly assessments, there should be due dates, announcements, and all those things. So the NPTEL office has been helping us in orchestrating a lot of these things. And on top of that, we had the 8 course alumni. Some of them would be joining this live interaction, as I understand from them. I'm actually looking at, so each week you had a different way in which we introduced live interaction. Now I'm seeing chat queries coming in YouTube, as well as queries that are already posted in Padlet. So first what I'll do is, so all the chat queries, yes, I have seen your queries. Some of that I will address while looking at the broad categories that have already come in the Padlet. So the first set that I am actually looking at is queries on assessment in MOOC. I think this is a more, what do you say, more pertinent component for many of our viewers. So I'll just briefly elaborate some of the questions that we have received. So the first question is how to evaluate pre and post test quality MCQs check. This is by Saikat Gochait. Then there is another question by Balaji Prasad, which says, is there any survey which evaluates on completion of MOOC courses with reference to types of participants or learners? Using survey as an evaluation. Third one is long answer questions. Can we incorporate long answer questions along with MCQ after completion of a MOOC module? Yes, this, and interestingly, our TA, one of our alumni, Aditya, and another learner, Balaji Prasad, has already answered it. How assessment is carried out if all 3 AQs are answered and submitted instead of one being chosen. So this is very specific to the course. How to assess students when they are engaged in experiments. And then there is a question on confusion regarding MSQ. I've asked Ambili Joseph to elaborate it a little bit. Then there is a question on rubric. So let me start with assessments in general and the idea behind assessments. So assessments, as you see, there are 2 types of assessment. One is a formative assessment that you are continuously doing in this course through LBDs, through the discussion forum interactions with the peer as well as the instructors. Uh, Assessments, it can be a variety of type, so both formative, and there is this summative component which comes in as assimilation quizzes, knowledge quizzes, and reflection quizzes. Now, the knowledge quiz directly focuses on the content that you have learned. So let's say week one, it was overview of LCM. So it is all about what is learner centricity, uh, what is missing in traditional MOOCs, etc. So that is the core content. So the knowledge quiz addresses the core content, and assimilation quiz is related to the learning extension trajectories. That means you would we have told you that you just need to look at just one of the LXT. So there is no harm in going through all the LXTs, but at the end we will take the best marks out of the three LXTs. There is a discussion forum post on this where I have explained it in a detailed manner. So coming on to the specific question by the first learner, Saikat, how to evaluate pre and post test quality using MCQs. I think that is what Saikat is trying to do. So for people who do not understand what is pre and post, it is basically before something, doing something before is pre and doing something after is post. So let's say taking a week's content. So if you have gone through the week's content, a pre-test would mean doing a test before to understand how much you already know, and post test is actually after you have gone through the content how much you have now improved. So a post minus pre upon the absolute maximum will give you the gain that you obtained out of the entire week's content. Now this is educational research method of quantitatively analyzing the benefit of any classroom intervention, or let's say even a MOOC based intervention.
Yes.
So how to evaluate pre and post test quality? Basically, there are no easier ways. You have to give your pre-test and post-test with another subject matter expert. So, for example, I am teaching mathematics and I want to conduct a pre-test and post-test. Basically, I create the test. I verify it with another maths teacher, another colleague of mine, whether how good is the quality. You can use any of the standard metrics. You could use Bloom's taxonomy, you could use the different capability levels. There are other cognitive levels that or cognitive difficulty levels, so easy, difficult, medium, those kind of, you could create a rubric and then use that to assess the quality, or use the standard, which level questions are there, what type of complexity is present, which type of knowledge component is addressed, whether it is addressing a fact, whether it is addressing a knowledge. So those kind of things you can do to do a pre-post evaluation of tests. The second question is from Balaji Prasad saying, is there any survey which evaluates on the completion of MOOC courses with reference to types of participants or learners? For example, faculty, students, and MOOC developers from corporate forums. So there are a lot of research activity ongoing with respect to MOOC. So I think I have put it up. Else, what I'll do is towards the end of this week, we'll release another LXT which specifically talks of the MOOC research papers. So if you look at Science Direct has a explicit section that is devoted to MOOCs. There are journals on MOOCs. Some of the important journals that you can look at is so there is a open access research journal called International Research and Review of Open and Distance Learning. It is IRRODL, IRODL. So this is a very popular and very high impact journal which publishes all kind of research related to open and distance learning, and MOOC is one part of this open and distance learning continuum. Uh,
How to limit that?
And on this note, I'll take one question from Sripat Sarange. He has asked multiple questions in YouTube chat. So I'm taking the last question that he has taken. How to limit LXT additional resource? Problem of losing the objective of topic itself. So yeah, limiting of resources can be done based on how you identify your cohorts. Let's say you have identified three different cohorts and you just want to uh, provide to one specific what do you say, one specific learner. You want to do give more focus. It really depends upon what are the capabilities of that learner. So if you look at our own LXTs, in some places we have given 5 to 10 different tools in the same resource. Somewhere else we have just mentioned one or two. So it really depends on uh, it's a judgment actually as an instructor. Like what would be like sufficiently good, you feel that it is good so that it will engage the learner, and it is like you do not overburden with them. See, at the end of the day, they are not here to learn through LXTs. The only input that they bring back to the course is whether they have accessed or not, or some simple question from through the assimilation quiz.
As far as I feel, problem of losing the objective of topic. More than that, LXT serves to expand our knowledge.
Correct.
And gain extra information, keeping in mind the topic and not losing focus. I think
Yeah,
there is a catch there.
yeah, so as the learner himself is saying, it is really up to the learner, right? So you take a conscious call as an instructor. Like, so for me, giving two research papers itself is very heavy. I mean, one research paper itself will take a lot of time for you to read, process, and understand. So giving two, 3 pointers, 3 pointers is good enough. If you give them 10 papers, I mean, you for sure you know that they are not going to look at all the 10 papers. So give all the most important tangible number. So yeah,
More,
for me,
more
three.
relevant.
Yes. So again, we also look into some existing research as in how much one can hold in memory. So a maximum of 7 plus or minus 2 is the thumb rule for that. So we go by that particular numbers when it comes to too many resources. Now the Padlet, if you actually see, there are a lot of queries, and it is that is what many of you actually responded back in the um, survey also. You feel overwhelmed on seeing the discussion happening in the discussion forum. Now again, here it is the focus that is important. So that is why we start with a focus question. So you, rather than going first into the discussion forum and looking at what others have responded, we have asked you to respond to a focus question. So this is one way of what do you say, taking a balance between what is ideal and what all we can extend the learners on. Let me now take another query in assessment. So yeah, so one more good thing that I see in the course is that even before the instructor answers, the learners are answering, as well as the TAs are also chipping in. I have addressed Balaji's question on AQs. Okay, this is an interesting question. How to assess the students when they are engaged in experiments? I think many of you, so how to engage students in experiments? Okay, do you conduct lab classes, sir?
Yeah, yes.
So what all are the prerequisites for lab?
Um, the subject knowledge, the theoretical knowledge. First, we teach the concept in the classroom, and we supplement it with a lab experiment to apply what we have studied in the lab.
So how to look at engagement or different ways of assessing students in lab experiment? First and easiest way is start with an LBD about the subject matter.
Yes.
That is the first thing that you could do. Then you can actually look at, I think records and other activities are also there, right? See,
Standards.
yes. So these standard things, it is like, do the students have an understanding of objective of the lab experiment? Do they have an idea of what all they are required to do? So all these could be assessment metrics that you can use. before while the students are doing the lab experiments, and within lab experiments it depends on subject to subject. You could identify, okay, so you
Also,
are
sir, we can get the students to have a peer learning. Like I have got this observation. See, I have got the temperature as so and so. What you have got? I have got the calorific value as this one. What you have got? Why?
correct.
I have got less. You have got more. Why?
Yeah. So the what Professor Sudarshan is indicating is you could have activities within the lab itself, design activities within the lab itself to understand how your students are interacting and what kind of knowledge they are bringing on to the lab experiment. Okay, so this is one more assessment metrics, and depending on subject you will, so if you think more objectively, you will see there could be different kind of metrics that you could use to assess students in a lab while they are engaged in an experiment. Now again, as an instructor you have to take a call as in what is your larger objective. So let's say you start with a larger objective of I want to connect this theory to the application. I want students to understand the transition from subject knowledge to application of the subject knowledge. You will have to choose your assessment metrics in such a way that this is reflected. So
also, we have an experiment in one of our courses, use of admixtures in concrete. So that can be done as an LXT, and it can be extended to be a research on itself.
correct.
It can be taken up. We can tell to the students that see, this is an experiment in this semester for you. When you come to a final year, you can do research on it. You can try FRCP, use this admixture. You can have pervious concrete. We have conducted research in pervious concrete under we have guided students. So you can use this admixture to produce a pervious concrete. This is how you can take it up as a research. So the lab experiment can be extended to research. We can use LXT for that.
Yeah, so basically all the LCM components are coming from either a face-to-face classroom or a lab. So it is the learning techniques that you use in these kind of settings. So there are various, so it is up to you as an instructor on how you are going to creatively modify this and do the respective assessments. So it is completely up to the instructor. Meanwhile, I'll just take one more query. This is from Sandeep Sadanandan. This is coming in YouTube chat. It is very interesting course. Thank you. Can you include some interesting technique tips for tutorial video creation or tell some suitable software list for the same? Sandeep Sadanandan, we already have a do's and don'ts of LEDs already in the course. Also, we have shared some tools that you can use to create these videos, and in fact please do have look at the discussion forum. There are a lot of other participants who are bringing in their knowledge of tools into it, and they are telling different types of tools in different operating systems. So go through the LXI, go through the LEDs, yeah, LBDs, and also the LXTs.
For example, recording software.
Yeah.
I have interacted from 4 to 5 participants. We are having a thread wherein we say he has suggested 2 softwares. I have told my experience of what software I am using for that. So that thread you can refer. Sandeep Saranam sir, he can refer and he can.
Sure.
Definitely. And I would also request Professor to what his objective of asking is, yes, you have provided a resource in the course itself, and it's definitely it's a useful resource, but what we are expecting as such, my view is we can have more, we can have one topic itself, LED itself, focusing on what are the software used, and somebody technically can give a demo of how to use it.
Okay.
It can be more of a no.
Yeah, so
it is not easy to implement.
Yeah, but so this suggestion is taken in. The current focus of the course is not on LED creation or tools.
Not on tools.
Yeah, so the current focus is on understanding the pedagogy behind all this. So once you are very sure of what the pedagogy is, then in any technology you will be able to do this. What do you say? In different formats, and yeah, again, see, we don't want to, what do you say, promote one specific software. Now what happens is, when we, let's say, use something like a um, yeah, what is let's say Screencast-O-Matic or OBS for video creation. Now that becomes like, everyone will say, yeah, it is done through Screencast-O-Matic, that is the easiest, but there are n number of other tools. We may be using that as an example tool, and so that is why we don't focus on specific technology, but it is only an instantiation of the concept, that is LED creation. That is the concept that you have to learn. Use of Screencast-O-Matic or open broadcasting software is just one instance of doing it in the format. And see, the video creation, if you actually look at it, I'll try to see whether we can do a what do you say, behind the scenes video, bloopers and other things.
Yes.
Somewhere up, maybe. So I'll have to check with my team out there. Do they have the raw videos with them? Maybe it will be an interesting exercise even for us to show you some of the ways in which we have shot it. I have one set of video that I use for a different platform, where the we have had screen interactions and other things. So that is coming in. I'll try to see, at least I'll try to post that one immediately in the next week. Okay, so queries on LXI. Okay, please suggest. See again, for all the questions regarding software recommendations, we may not be the right people to say whether this is better or that is better. We use a particular software because we find it convenient at that point of time. So if as I say, it is actually the pool of knowledge that is already available. You could use that to take in, because
And best thing would be, what I would say out of my experiences, you use your own. No, I used 2 3 screen recorders and found it out which is my suitable for me.
exactly.
It is all personal, very personal.
Correct.
Which is comfortable. I may be comfortable with one software, you may not.
Correct. So, for example, I am using Camtasia for
I am
some of
using
my
screen
recordings.
recorder.
I have also used Screencast-O-Matic. I have used Jing. So there are these various softwares that I've already used, and I'm comfortable with those. I know how those work. So I will resort to those kind of tools a lot more. How to write RQs for LXIs. This is a trade secret. I will not reveal it immediately, because then you will be able to easily find the answers for all the LXIs. No, but jokes apart, you basically, to frame questions for reflection quizzes, you as an instructor has to go through the discussions first and identify. So you will have some points in your mind that you would see in the reflection forum. Somebody would be saying that. So identify those important points that are being highlighted. So these are the discussions that every participant should actually at least see, if not participate. So identify those particular discussion forums, discussion posts, and frame a question based on that. That is the easiest technique that I can tell you from my own experience. Okay, another question in Padlet is, so these are all questions related to LXIs. Platform queries on adopting LCM. LCM adoption has the barriers of MOOC platform too. How to address the limitations of the same? This is asked by Sandeep Patil. So Professor Patil, so what you can actually use, okay, not so something that we all have to take factor in while creating our own MOOCs or our own courses is that we may not cater to thousands of learners at the same time, like how, let's say, NPTEL or SWAYAM is doing. We may be just doing maybe 100 learners, maybe 60 learners or 70 learners. So it is important. It's not the platform that is important. It is you understanding who your learners are. And learner centric MOOC The philosophy is coming from even from the classroom. So is adopting the LCM is basically like how you can think of MOOCs differently. So I'll give you an example. So all these Swayam courses are going live right now. So and we also have something called as local chapters to supplement the regular MOOC learning. So how many of the local chapter teachers, so if you are part of a local chapter, how many of you have thought of adopting learner centricity in some of the courses that your learners are actually enrolling in? So not every MOOC is learner centric, as you have already pointed out. So can this be made learner centric by your action? So you as a mentor to those learners create small offline courses. So it's a private, so we call it small private online courses, POCs. So can you create private online courses within your college, within your region, so that other learners can, the learners from that particular area can benefit from learner centricity? That is one way of looking at this thing. So Tamarai Selvan Mohan has asked, he has a question in the Padlet on queries on live interaction. Okay. Tamarai sir, I post question on LCM interactive session. I'm waiting for your about query. So which LXT as specific to student centric? Uh, every LXT is student centric, right?
Should be.
Yeah, I mean, it caters to different kind of student. See, not so. For example, if you are an instructor who wants to create your own MOOC, you may not be initially interested in research around MOOC. Obviously, you should be, but immediately you wouldn't want to first go through research. You would want tools to apply it, right? So you would be looking at LXTs related to the tools. Some others, they do not want to create MOOCs, but they want to research on MOOCs. For them, the tools may not be the first priority. For them, research articles would be. So they will go for those kind of LXTs. So each week, the kind of LXT that is required, each of it is learner centric, but you will be, what do you say, you as a learner would find one more learner centric, because one more student centric than something else, because for you as a learner that is more pertinent or more relevant. So it is from, and it is based on these cohorts that LXTs have been defined.
So I would like to take up a question in live interaction. So can we use any screen recorder for video recording? So that is the question. I think I have already mentioned. The question itself answer is there. There is an app called Screen Recorder. We can use our smartphone, and that is what I have done.
Correct.
I have created a LED with my own smartphone. So that is the question itself is the answer there. Screen recorder, we can use it. And as the Professor Jayakrishnan told, as far as using softwares, using tools is concerned, the topic is endless, and we need to have a separate MOOC for this.
Okay. Dr. Dilip Kumar Phosle has asked a valid question. I'll come to it in a minute. I'm just looking at some of the other questions from adopting LCM. So many questions have already been commented or responded by learners. Creating LBD or LED for long derivation. So I think this is a common question which came even in the discussion forum. So you have a long derivation. It could be a subject is mathematics, or you have a long analysis kind of thing where answers are it is more subjective, where, or is it process oriented? So how do you create LED LBD for this topic? Again, the idea is again focus on what is the key concept that the learner has to learn. So is it that they have to completely memorize how to derive, or should they be aware of what all are the assumptions, how to proceed after a particular step. So you could take all these as points for reflection, and then frame both reflection spot questions as well as learning by doing activities. So this is the easiest way of looking at it.
I have a related question, Professor.
Yeah.
So regarding these problematic subjects, where the problems are too long, how about LX size? How to design LX size?
Okay, so the question again, so this is one step beyond LED and LBT. So the same mathematical question, you want to convert it into a learner experience interaction. Uh, so think of a larger classroom that you are having. Okay, you are talking of derivations or problem solving. Uh, One way of looking at it is, you say you have identified, so the basic assumption, you start with the assumptions, right? These are the assumptions or given things. So you note that down. You can ask your learners, okay, what is the value of this? What is the value of that? So all these things can act as reflection spots. Now, when it comes to LXI, it requires them to interact with each other. What are the points where it is in learner experience interaction? It is people coming in with multiple viewpoints, right? Not just one, multiple viewpoints, and maybe converging or still diverging.
It is like various methods to solve the same problem.
Exactly. So you could ask one group to do the problem in one way, another group to do it in this way, and compare where they went, at which point did they start diverting, where their assumptions were similar, what is the larger,
and comparison of the answers.
Exactly. So this is one more way in which you can think of what do you say, LXIs for problems. Uh, to answer Dr. Dilip Kumar Bhosle's question, what type of question should be there in reflection quiz? Now, after having done that, the important thing is which all are the, so at one level, there should be a low hanging fruit. A low hanging fruit could be how many times they interacted, right? So this could be, if the platform allows you to directly take that in, use that as an assessment indicator. If not, create some kind of queries wherein they just don't have to spend too much time looking into the answer. So let's say, which is the most replied post in this week. So they just have to look at which is the one having the most threads. So these are called the low hanging fruits. The higher questions that we expect you to provide is basically on the content. So for example, in last week, we had question on which is your favorite LXT. A good reflection question for this is compare. So I will take that as a example. So the low hanging fruit for this is which is the most popular LXT in that particular week. The second question would be, what is the aspect of LXT that the students liked, or due to which of the following reasons did students like a particular LXT or learners like a LXT? So this is understanding why they like. So they would have given their rationale and everything, right? So you have to spend a little more time in going through each and every post and understanding what all are the important things that the learners have mentioned. The next higher level is at a meta level. That means, so you would abstract everything. So let's say 5 people talked about digital Bloom's taxonomy. 6 people talked about formative assessment, and each of this would have a different characteristic. So people who like formative assessment, they might be doing classroom teaching, and they would find this formative assessment strategies very important for them. The people who are taking digital Bloom's taxonomy, they might be offering some kind of technology tools to do the teaching learning process. So an abstract level questions, uh, which of the, I mean, um, um, what is the major factor that decides on uh, relevance of a LXT, or liking of an LXT by a learner? And you could give n number of reasons to that, right? So here the students have to go beyond one post beyond going through answers, they have to go through multiple posts and then try to make a sense, analyze it a little more, and then do an evaluation. What is the most important characteristic between these learners? So this actually takes the reflection quiz to the next level, and this is how you what do you say, design different levels of assessment in the in your own course, be it face to face or online. Shivakumar S, working people are not able to view and participate in live interaction. It has been duly noted. That is why one reason we are putting it in a Padlet, and this YouTube video is also available. Um, we will try to find some alternative time, at least out of the 4 interactions. Maybe we'll keep one at a late night interval. But again, it has to have, so we need to get some technological support from our technical team, who also are working people, right? They have a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 job, which is specifically this. But at some point, if we have sufficient software and those kind of capabilities, we will definitely come with an alternative timing, which is around 7 to 8 in the evening or 8 to 9 in the evening, where maybe many more of you could take part, or even on a Saturday and Sunday. Sandeep Patil says thank you for answering his question. Concern is platform creates limitations for making the MOOC learner centered. I have a different take on this. Nothing limits you from making instruction learner centered. So for that matter, the colleges is the greatest constraint for making learning learner centered. It is ideally, as an instructor, how you can think of overcoming those small barriers. See, uh, reflection spot can easily be done without interaction, right? I just say you pause the video, then you think about it. All I needed was a PPT slide, or my, so I could use the same screen recording. So rather than my face appearing over there, it would be just slides. And I could have just said, stop the video in the PowerPoint slide and then ask you to pause it, right? So there are ways in which instructors can overcome the limitations. Yeah, but you need to really understand what all are the affordances provided by the platform to really do that. So I do agree there is a dependency on platform, but it is not as high as what you think. It is only getting used to the platform that is more important.
Limitations of making it learner centric may also learners thinking that it should the grades are more important, certificates are more important than learning actually. That is also
Yeah, it could be. So the focus, see, having said all this, being learner centered is actually a wish list of the instructor. But let's say if the learner is assessment centric, then we do not have much choice, right?
yes, yes,
You do not have much choice,
yes.
and that is what many of you would be facing. So many of
Yeah.
you are faculty in regular colleges. Uh, so that is something that limits you to actually do the full-fledged learning approach. But yeah, it has to start slow and then slowly pick up, get a core group going about it, and then convert it into a more active knowledge creating community. That is very important. Let me now look at some more questions. So there are miscellaneous queries. There are these logistics query on local chapters. Please do understand that NPTEL, our server is down right now, due to which many of these activities like local chapter addition, etc., is not happening. We are also really trying really hard. Our development team has been working day in and day out every day, but the damage, because we also had a hardware issue. So both these is taking a lot of time for us to rectify it. Plus, please do not worry. We will definitely come up, I mean, make it up pretty soon, and we'll inform each and every one of you as and when this happens. Okay, so are there Yeah, so this is a valid question from Niran Kothari. Are there platforms? So, are there platforms which are useful for creating MOOCs? Yes, there are. So, for example, Canvas by Instructure, they have a live Canvas. So, again, each of these platforms have their own limitations, user limitations for free usage. So, Moodle Cloud by Moodle, uh, Canvas by Instructure. Another Indian option is Genomio, which is maintained by a Moodle enthusiasts. All these provide free services for creating free MOOC courses, but there are limitations. You should be active for continuously more than if it is inactive for more than 15 days, Genomio account gets erased. If it is so Moodle Cloud, you cannot enroll more than I mean size limitations for file uploads are there. So each free module has certain limitations, but you can experiment within these free modules and try to see what all works before going on for a paid version of MOOC. A question by Dr. Dilip again is it possible to show a live demo of creating a simple MOOC module? Uh, Live demo might be difficult because there are n number of associated activities in creating a MOOC module. So I'll just briefly explain how the LCM modules are created. So we start with, so what you saw in the warm-up week where instructors were discussing, that is something like the drawing board. So we start from there. So we have an open-ended discussion like what you saw, where we go through all the key concepts, and the instructors, four instructors come to a conclusion to decide which all are the important topics to be decided for the course. Now it starts from there. Then we will create a Excel sheet. We have around 8 to 10 people helping us, so it's not just four of us over here. We have a set of TAs. So there is a head TA who will look into which module, what all content is required. So for each we will define what is the LED, what is the LBD, what is the LXT. Each instructor will be in charge, or the TA will be in charge. The person, and there will be one person to coordinate creation of LED, uploading it into the portal, checking the answer, beta testing, everything will be, some set of people will be in charge. So if you actually look at it, the effort behind creating a 4 week course is roughly like, so 4 week is 10 hours of content. It will take almost 40 to more than 40, 50 to 60 hours of effort is required for creating a 4 week MOOC. So you can imagine, for us to create a 4 minute content, the amount of effort involved was more than 1 to 1.5 hours. Uh, so if you are looking at um, live demonstration of all this, I'm telling you, you'll be bored. So it is, I mean, it is exactly like how you watch a movie on screen, and the moment you go to the sets, it is completely different. It is a boring exercise. So that is why there is this limitation that we cannot do a live demo. But what we can show you is, as I told earlier, maybe we will show some of the behind the scenes of creation of a MOOC video. That is doable. How we created a MOOC video, the exact shooting and how the post production etc. came in, that we can show you. I'll try to get permission from our studio team to get the raw image. It will take some time for editing it, and after that we'll try to uh, upload that as a LXT. So there is a live query that is coming in. Before that, let me see whether I missed out something else. Lot of people have asked about for live demonstration. So Others, okay, there is a question on badges and medals. Badges and medals are typically used by other LMS platforms like edX, I guess. Definitely, Moodle uses a lot of badges. That is another thing that motivates the learner, due to which learners will continue. So you saw 5 posts, that for that you get a badge. So if many of you had gone through the resource called the LXT resource on discussions, there is a platform called Discourse. Do go into Discourse and see the kind of badges that are available. So badges and medals, etc., are motivational tools used by instructors to motivate learners. See, at the end of the day, in online learning, there needs to be some extrinsic motivation for learners to do something. So we identify what all could be some of these motivational points, and then we try to do it. Uh, Even in your current discussion forum, there is something for upvoting uh, discussions. So there you will see beneath the discussion, you will see a green button with some number. So if somebody has already upvoted it, so that green button shows upvote, red button shows downvote. If already somebody has upvoted, that upvote will come as a number alongside it. So you could actually look at that for what do you say, an example of a motivational uh, tool in the current LMS. So please provide brief information PDF about free MOOC platforms. Yes, we'll definitely do that. Okay, so this is from Department of Mathematics, Dattatray Renugdas Patil. As a local chapter, I like ask you how to encourage a teacher to design a new course in his subject. Please elaborate on what all are the key elements or benchmarks to get course sanctioned from UGC. So I believe you are asking about offering courses in Swayam. See, local chapter and course creation are two different concepts. Course creation is part of the larger pool, like how we can get different types of courses in a platform like Swayam or whatever platform you use. Local chapter is in the adoption aspect. It is not in the creation aspect. Adoption aspect of how MOOCs are being used in regular colleges or by regular learners. Now, as you all know, the completion rates of this MOOC is very low. Why? Because learners come and watch this in a flexible mode. They come in as and when they like, or when they see an announcement regarding due dates of the assignment is closing soon, please do it at the earliest, etc. So that is when the learners are coming in. Now, this is the case of a majority of courses. Now, the sheer volume of the learners that come in. So we have almost 1500 learners in our course, and around 170 or 200 are active regularly, and around 300 do assignments. So which will include these 170. So 170 I'm talking of people who are active in the discussion forum, because we see their posts every day. There are certain people who do not participate in the discussion forum, in the sense they do not post in the discussion forum, but they may be viewing the discussion forum. We may not know. So this number is actually captured through the assessment that comes in, the LBDs, the knowledge quizzes, assessment, assimilation quizzes, etc. So
Query on orchestration.
yeah, so this number is low. So this is where local chapters play a part. So local chapters can have mentors who do these kind of learner-centric activities and motivate learners to take up that course more. So please do understand there are these two aspects. One is creation of a course, and the other one is adoption of a course in the local chapter. So you should first focus on getting these teachers to adopt a MOOC in their classroom. So it could be one module of a MOOC, one lecture of a MOOC, or even few LBDs of a MOOC. If you can get buy-in from teachers in using these kind of resources, you should start from there. Then slowly, as they start offering their own LBDs and LXIs, then you can motivate them to create a proposal for offering a MOOC. Now, this is how then they will understand what all are the difficulties at the lower level, and then they will be able to offer better MOOCs. So this is one way of looking at it. Okay, another question. So Piazza, is it a closed or paid source system? It is not open source. It is a freemium software. You can create open accounts, but there are certain limitations. Okay, question on, please provide information of platform for discussion or quiz with support to type mathematical equations online or offline. So Swayam 2 has support for mathematical equations in LaTeX format. So LaTeX is something that many people are using it. Moodle uses a plugin called Virus Math to get mathematical equations embedded in their HTML editor and other things. So that is one more thing that you can actually look at. Other platforms, I think even edX or others have these kind of, so they use different kind of plugins. Many platforms use these kind of plugins to what do you say, input mathematical equations, formulae, all those kind of things. But LaTeX is a good starting point. If there are platforms that allow LaTeX, that is where we should start. Tell me some clarity about orchestration. Okay, so orchestration, what you see right now is orchestration. Okay, what you saw are looking in the discussion forum, that is also orchestration. What else could be different kind of orchestration? So let me have a look at
he goes on to ask Mr. Thamari Selvan, orchestration must be carried out only at the end of the course.
Oh,
not necessarily.
Need not. So
you can start very well at the end, starting of the course itself.
Okay.
Like we have entry survey.
Yes. So orchestration is actually
in this course we had that.
Yes. So this is actually an orchestration. He asked me whether he can come over to NPTEL and attend the live interaction here. I said yes, why not? Come over. So these are all different ways of doing orchestration, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. So I mean, I don't know whether there are any templates for orchestration. It is very dynamic. So it is exactly like how you take a class. I mean, there aren't any set rules. So you try to follow.
Before starting up this MOOC,
Yeah.
we had an interaction with our 3 professors, interacting about giving us an idea of what is a MOOC.
Correct.
What is an LCM model. So that could also be an orchestration.
Absolutely. So the warm-up that you saw, that was part of an orchestration strategy. That means people who enroll in the MOOC 2 months prior, they should have some content to actually have an idea of what this MOOC is, have an idea of, okay, what all are they expecting from this MOOC. All this should be, I mean, they should have an understanding. And this is where, and we also ask them certain specific questions that they should answer. So, I mean, from there itself, we are telling you that you will have to do a lot of work to come into this MOOC. So that is one more thing that we are looking at in terms of orchestration. Okay, so Satish Kumar is asking how to do LXI more effectively. What are the tools can be used for LXI? Okay, discussion tools per se. So the ones which I have mentioned in week 3 LXTs, Discourse is a brilliant tool for doing LXIs because it allows all these additional, I mean, it is like a civilized discourse happening, and there are these multiple levels. So first you will have to at least go through 10 or 15 posts to start posting. So this itself will make you at least get you an understanding of what this discussion forum is. So first you need to experience it as a user. Then you start posting. Then your trust levels will go up. Then you are invited as moderators. You can moderate. You can do lot of different activities in the discussion forum. So in fact, if you look at the current course, we have invited few alumni from the previous course. The basic condition was they were the toppers of the previous exam. So they had an understanding of what LCM is and they performed really well in our current course. So yeah, we will take a call on whether we'll be offering this LCM course in the next semester. But if that call is taken, if we decide positively that we are going to invite alumni, we are going to offer LCM in the next semester. Definitely, from the current offering, we will look at the top performers, the most active discussion forum participants to join as discussion forum moderators. Okay, assessment on MOOC. How to conduct assessment on practical oriented subjects. So this is what we discussed. So Tamre Selvin sir, this is exactly what we discussed regarding labs. So basically identify the objective that you will have to first. So the outcome that is expected from the lab. Frame your metrics according to that. Satish Kumar, can you please explain a little more about LXT? Satish, can you be more precise? What extra thing do you want me to specifically say about LXT? I'll definitely say that. If a learner wants to post a query with regard to assessment, a teacher would have given less mark. Balaji, I did not understand this query. So this query is coming from Balaji Prasad in YouTube chat. This query is on if a learner wants to post queries with regard to assessment. A teacher would have given a less mark.
He means mark clarification, sir.
Okay, mark clarifications. Absolutely, it is possible. It is possible. And yes, it is an essential part of the MOOC. See, this is why in our
it can be taken up in a discussion forum.
Yes, so we have a category for these kind of queries. Assessment queries. We have in the general queries, we have a specific section already outlined for assessment. And this brings me to another important topic which I said I will elaborate today. It is about people finding it really hard to or daunting because of the discussion forum. So let me just take our discussion forum. So I'm just taking the discussion forum here and okay, it's taking some time for it to come. Okay, I'm trying to see if there are other queries. Queries on orchestration.
So, can we have that LED which I prepared part, sir?
Yeah. So I'll take this opportunity to get more inputs from Professor Sudarshan, who has already prepared. So go to the discussion forum. You will see a LED posted by Dr. Sudarshan on the subject of civil engineering. So he has actually shot a video. He has used some post-production and he has actually talked of the mistakes that he committed, what all you should think about before starting off with an LED creation.
Yes, actually my topic on creation of LED was estimation of septic tank for UG civil engineering students, and it's a problem basically. We have to estimate the cost of the septic tank, quantities in the septic tank. which make up the constitute the scripting time. So for that, whenever I go to a class, I just work out the problem, show the diagram and work out the problem. That is what I do in a class. So I immediately I used a software called the Screen Recorder app, and I used only I know no big sophisticated studios, no video cameras. Just I had a smartphone, I had screen recorder, and I recorded my own video in that, and I just took a snapshot of a book which has that problem, and I gave a copyright acknowledgement to them, and I did the problem. Actually, what happened was, when I shot the video, I shot the video as a whole, so that should not be done. So the chunking part has to be script, as Professor Jayakrishnan gave me a very detailed feedback on how what all I should have done. So I should have chunked it more precisely, and I should have written a script. I didn't script it.
Yeah.
I did it out of just I thought about it to do a MOOC. I did it. So it's not like that. A lot of input. When I see my own video, I think I should have done better, and I should have scripted it. So script is the hero of a MOOC. So when we write a script, we know when to have a reflection spot, what should be the duration of the LED, when to stop, when to pause, when to resume, how to give an LBD about it, how to give an LXT. All that has to be planned. I never planned. When I shot the video, whatever it came, I gave an LBD, I gave an LXT, and I solved the problem. In between I had a take of micro practice. I gave changed the numbers and gave a micro practice also. And in the discussion forum, there is a link. Please kindly go through and give me your own comments on how to improve it also. There are a lot of mistakes, sorry for that, but yes, it's a good experience. And as far as I have gone through the discussion forums, there are a lot of questions on reflection spots. Reflection spots, there are a lot. Even today there was a question on reflection spot at the end of the course. What I would here say is, rather than asking what is the reflection spot, discussing, just do it. Just construct a reflection spot, see for yourself, see for your own subject. It varies. For his subject it will vary, for my subject it will vary. The methodology we use, what is the reflection spot, where to keep it, duration of the reflection spot, timing, the location, everything is all very case by case basis. I always answer on the forum, it varies case to case. So it is like a reflection spot. It cannot be learnt. It has to be experienced. So I experienced it. I want you to experience it. I split my LED into 3 portions and kept 3 reflection spots. And very importantly, I kept a reflection spot at the very beginning of the LED to revise on the unit 1. So that was appreciated by Professor Jayakrishnan, and he told, and I was very happy about it.
Yeah. So that the positioning of reflection spot is completely up to the instructor, and the reflection spot only has to do a purpose of engaging the learner. So any question that engages them with the content is what you can give through reflection spot. And of course, see, every time your first answer, your first book to be coming what do you say, brilliantly well is completely out of picture.
Do not expect it.
Yeah. And see, every time, even now when we shoot videos, we see points where we could improve. And so this aim for perfection is, I think it is like an infinite, you are trying to reach infinity. So it will come, in every time you come closer, you will see that it is still far.
It is as similar as cooking.
Okay, so Satish Kumar is asking my question with respect to LXTs. Searching for appropriate resources, how to validate it. Okay, so this is important because there are 2 important things what you will have to look at when it comes to searching for resources. One is that ideally look for open educational resources which are in public domain or which is in CC by SA. So this will allow you to use resources without fearing about intellectual property rights. So there are a lot of open educational resources. oercommons.org is a website which contains a lot of open educational resources. Uh, then there is Wiki Commons, which is actually a Wikipedia of or a wiki of open educational resources. And there are a lot of other open educational resources that are coming up. A lot of important repositories which are which are in OER. The Merlot repository, MIT Open Courseware. All these are in open educational resources. So this is one place where you will have to search. When it comes to journal or research resources, look at resources which are in open access. Uh, Open access means that the journal may have a publication fee, but these articles will be given in open access. Some of the researchers also have their own private websites, their own websites where they upload their pre-draft, which is pre-publication draft, which is almost similar to the research, but it would have undergone further revisions before it reaches the publishers. So that is one more place which you can look out for open educational resources. Validation, see, validation of resources when it comes from these standard repositories, yes, there is some validation to it, but at the end of the day, you as an instructor has to validate that the LXT that you are using is fit for the purpose, is correct for the cohort that you are giving to. So there aren't, I wouldn't say there are shortcuts to do this, but yeah, it still rests upon the shoulder of the course coordinator or the instructor.
So there's a question I would like to take up, sir.
Yeah.
I constructed Mr. Balaji Prasad. I constructed an LED LBD, but I found that one cannot insert a reflection spot as one like. Am I right? Uh, uh, I am thinking it's a all-time favorite question on reflection spot. That is reflection spot. What I feel out of my experiences, when you prepare an LED, you yourself realize at this point there should be a reflection spot. So at that point you keep that reflection spot. That's it. That is the answer to the query, I think. There can be no case where there is no reflection spot. I believe, because reflection spot everywhere it has to be there. As now I am interacting with Professor Jayakrishnan, I am having my own reflection spot in my mind. What I should talk and what I should not. So everywhere reflection spot should be there, I think.
Okay, so so adding on to what Professor Sudarshan said, as one likes. So as one likes, yes. So it is not that reflection spot should be based on the instructor's liking. Okay, I may think that a reflection spot is good over here, but you should back it up with the sufficient reason. Like, let's say Professor Sridhar in his first video, he stops at a particular point and this is a reflection spot.
Yes.
He starts with that statement.
Yes.
Okay. And what is the problem with MOOCs currently? That is the question that he asks us, or at that point, I guess. So, I mean, logically, when you look at that argument, once you follow whatever you have been saying till that point of time by the instructor himself will. So, as an instructor, you will get a cue that okay, I would want learners to think about this at this point, and that is how you come up with reflection spots, and that is exactly the way in which reflection spots have to be designed. It could be at the start. Remember that you saw this.
Yes.
It could start from there, or it could be at the end, wherein say, now that you have seen this, think about this particular aspect.
Revision of the previous session.
Exactly. So summary kind of recall kind of thing at the end of the video. So let me. Okay, so there is another question from Dr. Usal Sharma. This is in the Padlet. What are the skill sets required for a person performing orchestration? Orchestration skills, basically in MOOC, it is like you have to be active for most of the time. I mean, you have to go through posts, you will have to look at various kind of comments. So even as I see a lot of chat queries coming in. I should be able to browse through multiple windows. So the basic requirement for doing orchestration is you have to be really adept in understanding the pulse of the audience. Yeah, so again, I started off by saying that we have the discussion forum, and many find it really hard to navigate the discussion forum. See, the most important thing if you look at the discussion forum is that each of this has been categorized. Okay, so there is a specific category in which your post can come, and you can start a new so your pre-course discussions, it has been categorized into three categories. General discussions, that means technical queries, content queries, logistics queries, assessment queries, and any other miscellaneous queries. It is handled here. So this is a forum that MOOC instructors like us regularly go through and try to address it. Some others are, these are the focused interactions or the focused discussions that are happening. So LXI week 1, LXI week 2, LXI week 3, LXI week 4. Now each of it is corresponding to the respective group, respective week. And we also had in the course, we had suggested while you should first subscribe to the group, and while you are subscribing to the group, you have something called email delivery preference. So there are, don't send email updates, send daily summaries, send combined updates, notify me for every new message. And you can see that in our discussion forum, this comes out to be around 58 per day. That means every day on an average, we are getting 58 new posts in the discussion forum. Now this is going to be, now if you select by default, this is the option, which means that for every post in the discussion forum, you will get an email alert. And this is going to daunt you. And this is why we suggest either daily summaries or combined updates. This is these two are good strategies that you can use for taking what do you say, doing discussions. And whenever you have to post a new topic, there are these, so as a person I can start a discussion or ask a question. For ask a question is that if somebody answers, I can mark it as complete. So I can mark best answers, I can mark completion, etc. So discussion is only completion. So it's an open thread where everyone has a point of view. And then you have these categories, and we have said that for a specific category, choose only that. Do not select all three. You don't need all three categories to post in the forum. Select only this and then post. Select the appropriate category and then post. That will help you in understanding what do you say, reducing the clutter. Yes. And if you actually look at, let's say I select LXI week 1. So you will see a lot of posts over here, and you can see that there are these three categories. It is not just in LXI, it is also there in logistics queries. It is also categorized in pre-course discussions. And if I click that, I'll see all the pre-course discussions. So what has happened is the same query, because all three categories have come, it will come in all the three. So as a learner, you will have to start thinking of which is the most appropriate category. We have given you three broad categories: pre-course discussions, general, and LXIs. Typically, LXIs are exclusive categories. When you are responding to an LXI, use only that category to respond. Do not put the other categories in. So this way, your navigation of the discussion forum will also be very easy. Okay, so going back to the live stream, so let me also show you what we are seeing. So yeah, so for people who want to really see what is happening, let me do a transition. So I'm using a software called Open Broadcasting Software, OBS. So this is the YouTube live screen that you are seeing. And here you can see that we started off at around 2:30 with 6 or 7 people. And this is the kind of sustaining that we have seen across the past 1.5 hours. So, and you see some important statistics coming up here, right? So currently there are 16 people watching this particular interaction. There are 177 playbacks. Chat rate, currently chat rate is 0, but earlier as chats, if you had seen chat rate of the first interaction, it would have been in 20s and 30s. And an average watch time of 8 minutes 7 seconds. That means a person is active in this discussion for at least 8 minutes. So as more people are sustained, then this average watch time will increase to a little bit more. So this is the kind of orchestration analytics that we use.
Sir, what is playback, sir? 177 playbacks.
So 177 playbacks, it has been used total number of times this video has been loaded, including page refreshes, change of camera angle.
Okay.
And yeah, basically when they do a reload or they try to look at it. So
Okay.
177 times people have tried to load this particular page.
Fine.
And we have around 16 people concurrently watching it at this
more
point.
than 25 actually.
Yes. So that is one thing. Please provide LED about H5P. Again, I mean, Nirang Kothari, I understand that many of you are interested in understanding about H5P, but H5P, the h5p.org has brilliant tutorials about H5P. So go to the h5p.org site, and there are these interactive tutorials that they themselves have developed. That will be a much more better resource than we doing a generic LED, because frankly saying, H5P is not the same as LED. So LED is a concept and H5P is a tool that we can use to create, bring in interactivity in a video, monotonous video. You bring in interactivity using H5P. So maybe what I'll do is I'll try to post some helpful videos on H5P as an LXT resource for the next week. I hope my TAs are listening to what I'm saying. So we have to upload some important resources in the coming week. Few here are very much interested to have a field work.
I'm already having one.
So yeah, so for people who are interested in actually doing it, so why don't you create a community of your own from the discussion forum? So here is an open activity for all of you. All the people who are interested in creation of a or actually experiencing LED, LBD themselves, put up a post in that miscellaneous tag, under the miscellaneous tag. So here is an open activity. Let me just do the transition. So this is the discussion forum. So in the general category, we have something called miscellaneous. So already we are getting feedback about the analytics. We also have other general queries that are coming in over here. So over here, why don't you start a new topic? So let me start a new topic here. Interested in creating LCM elements. I am starting a discussion as NPTEL team. I am not putting it as an LXI. Okay, so start, create a new topic, because already that LXI had come. Rather, I will put it as in miscellaneous. So I have directly selected miscellaneous. Interested in creating LCM elements. Hi, those people who are interested in creating LCM elements, please respond below this post. Instruction: identify 2 to 3 group members to come to consensus on a common topic. Create, in fact I'll say 3 to 4 because we have 4 instructors, so 4 to 5 people doing one MOOC content would be a nice thing. Come create 1 week worth content as a field, okay, lab activity. Content, 1 week worth content having LEDs, LBDs, LXTs. I think these 3 are good enough. LED, LBD, LXTs. Because LXI will come only when the actual learners start, right? So do all this and yes, let us also, we will also post our planning document as an LXI next week. So you could use that to take inspiration and create your own LBDs. Okay. So let me post it. So you know the post where it is. It will come in miscellaneous tag. It is coming in miscellaneous tag. Okay, so I'll just, any of this, all of this are my discussions. Topics I started. Yeah, so this is the post that I just created. So you could also use these filters. Okay, so this is another way of actually lessening the clutter of discussion forum. It is already available, but we haven't spent too much time in detailing out what this is because the focus was not exactly on the individual aspects of the what do you say, the discussion forum or the tool. So so we are almost reaching 4 o'clock. Any other yeah, so overall yeah, please do post your feedbacks about the course even after this week because we'll be keeping the discussions alive till the exams are done. We also would want more people to take up LCM, so we'll also share the previous courses discussion forum with all of you where we had asked LCM follow-up question. I mean, if people are interested in doing their own LCM workshops or creating small LCM interest groups, we would encourage that and we would want more people to take part in it and spread the message of learner centricity across the different parts of the world. That is one important idea.
One last question I would like to ask. Given the number of people taking up the course as learners, how do you evaluate a query like how many peers you have interacted this week?
Okay.
How do you, I say I have interacted with 5 people. How do you check it? Because there are so many people.
Okay, so this is like revealing the answer to all of you. So there are ways of doing it, but if you actually look at the reflection question answers, you will see the pattern that we have used. So the feedback is provided over there. And Dr. Samir is asking, has anyone created any element of LCM? Please share details.
Yes.
So Professor Sudarshan has already created, of course, Dr. Samir is aware of it. Dr. Samir, if you are there for some more time, can I take you in Hangouts? Yeah, so Dr. Samir, I have sent you an invite in Hangout from the live session ID. Ideally, this is like another way of. I just wanted to try out something with open broadcasting software where we could actually interact with. What do you say? Interact with you on a Hangout and show it to the learners. I think Dr. Samir, so there is slight delay in our stream and the way, the time that you are listening to it. Yeah, as Dr. Samir said, Dr. Balaji, we have actually shot it at multiple locations. So I was part of it came in while I was in Chennai. Others were shot it in while I was in Mumbai. All the others were in Mumbai. Yeah, so we have Dr. Samir online, and what I'm trying to do is,
Yeah.
one
Yes.
second. I am trying to see.
Yeah, can you all hear me?
Yes, so I'm trying to see how to select Google Chrome. Yeah, one second. I'm just trying to see. Yes, so I'll add a source. Audio. Cancel. Okay, let me just add you to the source. Into capture. Create new for capture 2. Okay. So let me select. Yes.
Can you get some audio from here?
Yes, I believe you are now online. Uh, can the learners can the learners see you online is something that I'm trying to see. I'm not sure whether. Okay,
No, because I have a screen here where I can't see myself.
No, it'll come in a few minutes, sir.
Okay, fine.
So I'm just opening.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe. Yes, you are online, sir, and yeah, hi. So we will be meeting in another 20 minutes for another meeting. But yeah, this will be a good time to discuss something beyond. So see.
Yes, I just wanted to react to one of the questions.
Huh. Yes, please go ahead.
Which is a common question by many people. And the question is by Professor Balaji, whether we can visit the IIT Bombay studios to see how actually you record. Now, this is a very common and very curious question for a lot of people. How do we record? to tell you frankly, we have recorded at multiple particular course, not just within IIT, but even outside IIT. I suppose one of the some of the sessions were recorded in IIT Madras
Exactly.
studios.
Yes.
The hardware and software uh, is in huge range, so it's not one size fits all situation. We can use multiple cameras and we can use different microphones, editing softwares. Everything is very, very different, and there is no magic formula that I can tell you that okay, if you use Panasonic Z21, then you can guarantee a good quality LED. So it's nothing of that sort. Therefore, we restricted ourselves to saying that the technology domain is ever changing and emerging. Therefore, let us concentrate on the design part more. Therefore, the course title also is called as Design Learner-Centric. As we speak, we have already started working on a course called as Producing a Learner-Centric, which will cater to most of the questions that what we want to actually ask about. But to tell you another story, I am just going to post a link here about how to create online content. I remember one particular instance where it's interviewed by a taxi driver uh, in a midnight hour when I was traveling from the airport to my residence. And he used a mobile camera with a built-in microphone and two LED lamps to lit up the whole situation. And if you can see that video, you will realize that absolutely no disturbances, no editing glitches, and it's a very smooth storytelling which is happening. And all because of the format that the cab driver used. So, in a nutshell, I want to say that we should not do uh, we should not put a lot of emphasis on the technology side, but if we spend a lot of time on the design, I think the output is going to be great. Of course, we will be with you in order to suggest you some best practices which we have recorded in some of the LEDs, and we have some LXDs also put up on that. But nevertheless, I think that we should try and overcome this anxiety about okay, what's the big recipe behind creating good quality videos. That's all I wanted to make. And I'm saying that with a lot of responsibility because I come from a media background. I come from filmmaking background where all these things matter a lot. But when we go to MOOC level content, I have seen that storytelling takes over everything. And if you are talking engaging stories, then actually it doesn't matter whether it is a particular brand of camera or soundproofing. And yeah, just to go ahead with that same topic, the most commonly used studio in IIT Bombay, where we have created almost 52 courses so far, is not a soundproof room. It's a room which has openings towards the ceiling. Then come out and tell people to mute their telephones and mobile phones, and nobody can talk louder than a certain limit, and all such things are done. So one might ask that why can't IIT have facilities like that? That's not the point here. The point here is that we have designed the course content creation in a particular manner. I think we can keep doing the same job again and again, irrespective of the type of gadgets that we have. Okay. Anything else that okay? So
Yeah,
you
so
already have the link of.
yeah, so I have already posted the link. I initially thought of taxi wala, but it was
Any other question you wanted me to?
yeah. So another question that I wanted you to address is this local chapter adoption of MOOCs. Of course, you can talk of the MOOC creation workshop that we are planning for T4E. That might be if it is still if it is finalized, you could talk of that or the other post LCM workshops that even participants or the learners can think of.
Yeah. So I got the question into bits and pieces, so I'm not very sure about the question, but I think it talks about the second course that we are talking about and the post LCM workshops.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So yeah, second course is very much on the cards. I have spoken to a couple of other experts in the field who have experience of creating content. We are going to cover three important aspects there. One is the production part, the post-production part, which is the editing and making all things look better, and some portion about graphic designing where people talk about even the slides which we are showing on screen. So how can you design them better for MOOC scenarios, like when people watch your slide on a screen, then how well can that be designed in order to communicate properly? And a little bit of portion about how to orchestrate a particular thing as a primer, because initially in our plan we have a third course plan as orchestrating a learner-centric MOOC as a separate course. But I don't know how far we will be
able to do that.
Yeah. But in case we don't, so I thought of adding a small element of that.
Yeah.
Like you have a small element of do's and don'ts of how to create LEDs in this particular thing, we will have a precursor to that in that course. So that's how the course is planned out. And the learner-centric MOOC community itself is growing. I can see that in a couple of colleges I visit and meet people. I see people talking about this course and the takeaways of the course which they feel. I sincerely want to say here that if you guys can come together about this part and start exchanging, like for example, somebody already said that I have a LED for 70% of my course and I'm trying to create LPT. Now, if these kinds are shared with each other and for a very positive peer review, I think that would be spreading out a very positive message. At the same time, there will be a lot of learning involved in this, because the moment I show my LED to somebody, I am bound to get some very good constructive feedback. So yeah, let us go in that direction is what I can suggest right now.
Yeah. So I'm bringing it back live to our studio right now.
Yes.
So thank you a lot, Dr. Samir.
Okay.
Yeah, and are we still going to offer designing learner-centric MOOCs in the next semester?
I request you should.
Good question. There's some questions that I can take offline.
Yeah, sure. But for learners who are preparing for the exams, we definitely would keep the discussion forum going on even after the end of the course. Okay, so thanks a lot, Dr. Samir, for joining us from Mumbai. To all the learners who are out there, this is also one type of orchestration that you saw live, or demonstration of orchestration live. So I hope you have taken some amount of live demonstrations as part of this course. We will definitely come up with some more in the coming days. We just have to get the edits done and uploaded in our YouTube channels. Hopefully, yeah. So wishing everyone the best, not just exam takers, regular LCM learners also the very best. And thank you, Professor Sudarshan, for joining us in NPTEL IIT Madras.
Thank you, sir.
So that's all from the LCM team. Wishing everyone the very best, and thank you.